We're off and running. All right, so this is a Psoas Release class, and so Melanie, I don't think you've ever done Psoas Release with me. We're going to be really focusing on the psoas muscle, which is the largest muscle of our body. It connects from the very top of our femur, wraps up and through the pelvic girdle, and then connects right behind the diaphragm to the four vertebrae of the spine. It is the only muscle in the body that literally keeps our legs connected to our upper body. So it's kind of a very important muscle just in that regard, because it literally connects the upper and lower halves of our body. But more importantly than that, its job is to keep us safe. It's responsible for hip flexion, so this action, but what it really does is it's wired to our nervous system in the sense that it will trigger the fight or flight response in the body. So even if our frontal lobe isn't aware of something that might be happening, some danger lurking in the distance, the fact that we might need to slam on our brakes really quick because there's a car right in front of us, it literally senses danger before the mind recognizes there's danger. And so if you're hiking and there's a rattlesnake like under a rock, it will pick up on that before you even notice that it's there and have you ready to fight or flee. So that's its job. But the problem is that because we are in such a high stress society, in a high stress state all the time, the muscle is overused. And so it's overused on a physical level because we do so much sitting in our population. And so what we are going to be doing in this class is actually getting to the psoas muscle so that we can release it. So its natural response, like I said, is either to get you ready to fight or run. But it also has a tremoring mechanism. And so if you've ever noticed, watched any wildlife shows or anything, after the gazelle gets away from the lion, it will literally go off under a bush and shake. So if you've ever taken a dog to the vet, they're shaking. Times where something happened to us and we were scared to death and all of a sudden we notice our body is tremoring, that's the psoas muscle doing exactly what it was designed to do. It literally is shaking out the trauma. It is releasing the trauma from the body. And in so doing, it's also releasing all those chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline that would otherwise build up in the body and cause a lot of damage to all the systems of the body. So we have issues in our tissues. We store a lot of stuff energetically in that psoas muscle, and we don't always, or rarely, do we take the opportunity to either release it through running, in the moment, like when we're afraid, or let it kind of shake and tremor out. So what we're going to do is, it's going to feel mostly like a regular yoga class, but the class is designed to get to that muscle to elicit that response. And it's a neuromuscular response. This is a therapeutics class, and this protocol has been scientifically proven to be effective. They work with PTSD victims, people who've been in extreme states of trauma, but also the guy who developed the tremoring kind of mechanism, or the protocol, I should say, he travels all over the world, works with war-torn countries, and went to Sandy Hook. I'm sure that he went to Oregon. I'm sure, literally he gets called out to go to those places, brings people into a big gymnasium, and will tremor them out from the trauma. So that's what we're going to be doing. So at the very end, you'll have the opportunity to, and I'll invite you and set you up to tremor, but if you at any point just don't it doesn't feel comfortable or, whatever, you can always stop it. No one's going to make you do it. But I would invite you to explore it because it actually helps on a physical level too. So if we carry a lot of hip and low back pain and tightness, it will literally release that as well. But more than that, it's working on an energetic and emotional level to help the body get rid of the things we just really don't want to hang on to. So, so there. All right, we're going to start on our backs. Couple options. I like to have a blanket underneath my seat. And if you would like to roll up, if you have a sway in the back, you can kind of roll up the edge of the blanket so that it kind of sits right in that little arch in the spine. Have your knees bent
with your feet grounded just below your seat, so you feel a sense of grounding in the spine. And then walk your hands down toward your feet. They can be out a little bit to accommodate for the blanket, but make sure the palms are facing up so the shoulders are down and back. So the muscles that get involved in that fight or flight system, neck and shoulders, our jaw, the TMJ, our neck will jut forward, our teeth will clench, our shoulders will rise up, and so we want the shoulders to be back and down. We want the jaw to be relaxed. So kind of notice what you might have brought into the room, physically, energetically. If there's any areas of the body that are not really fully grounded, see if you can adjust a little bit to feel as grounded as possible, as much of your spine connecting with the earth here. Good. And then just begin to notice your breath. How is your breath feeling this morning? What does it sound like? How fast or slow? How deep or shallow? Is it rhythmic or irregular? And as you bring that awareness with the breath, begin to intentionally slow and deepen the breath. Breathing in through the nose, feeling the breath move through the back of the throat, filling into the chest, the rib cage, all the way into the belly. Exhaling, just releasing the belly, releasing the breath, allowing yourself to be empty so that you might be filled. We can only be filled as much as we're willing to be empty. And we need this oxygen. We need the breath. So see if you can bring the breath into the fullest part of your lungs, all the way down even into the hips in your mind's eye. And then your exhale again, just softening the belly, letting it hollow out, letting all of the breath go. Maybe you inhale and exhale for the same length. So if you're inhaling to a count of 4 or 6, see if you can match the length of the exhale to your inhale. Breathing helps bring us conscious awareness. It brings us to a place where we can now move from not habit, but from a space of being conscious and aware. And that's one of the things about our psoas muscle. It needs us to allow the body to sense, to feel, to notice. But it also needs that deep rhythmic breath. Remembering that in the lower lobes of our lungs are where those nerve ganglia are that trigger that calming of the body. They put us into the parasympathetic nervous system so the body can be relaxed, it can rest, it can restore, it can heal, it can digest. So allow your breath to be deep, to be full, to be rich. So today, our teachers in training are going to dive into the study of Moses. And this is my favorite study of all time, because Moses has many lessons for us. We can relate to him. He's flawed. He is human. He's made mistakes. And so just kind of thinking about the very beginning, when Moses is called at the burning bush. Moses literally is a shepherd, and he's just doing his shepherd work. And out of nowhere, he notices, he gets a glimpse of this bush that's burning, but it's not being consumed by the fire. So the fire is just kind of glowing out of this bush, but it's not being consumed. And God calls to him out of that bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses responds to him, "Here I am," which I think is ironic, by the way, because God knows exactly where he is. But Moses says, "Here I am." And he approaches the bush, and this is where God begins to call him and commission him to lead his people out of Egypt.
So I'm not going to give you all the details of this because there's one area I really kind of want to focus on today. But when Moses is called by God, he starts to list off all of his disqualifications, all of his excuses of why he would not be the right person for this job, why he's not the one. And so God basically, very patiently, tells him how to respond, but then he says to him, "What is in your hand?" And he said, "A staff." And he said, "Throw it on the ground." So he threw it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses ran from it. But the Lord said to Moses, "Put out your hand and catch it by the tail." So he put out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. Then he said to him, "Put your hand inside your cloak." And he put his hand inside the cloak, and when he took it out, behold, it was a leprous hand like snow. Then God said, "Put your hand back inside your cloak." So he put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, behold, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. If they will not believe you, God said, or listen to the first sign, they may believe in the latter sign. So this staff is something that I want to spend some time exploring. The staff that Moses threw down. A staff is a stick, a pole, or a rod that is used as an aid in walking or climbing, or it is something that supports or sustains. Now Moses has been using his staff to help him walk and do his work. He's an elderly man. He's in his 80s. But God tells him to throw it down and basically to see it for what it is. It turns into a serpent. But really, this serpent represents the fact that Moses has been relying on his staff as if it were a crutch. And so we want to think about this not just in terms of this physical staff, but the fact that each and every one of us has a crutch. Each and every one of us has something that we rely on that's not God. He's been running and hiding for years, and now God wants to use him, and he wants him to get rid of the crutch and rely on him completely. He can only be used if he throws down his crutch and takes up the staff in God's name and God's power, because this will become a symbol of God's power and his glory through Moses. So today I want you to kind of think about, what is it that might be your staff? What does it represent for you? What are the things that maybe you need to throw down and see them for what they are? Or maybe the things that you rely on that really aren't of God, instead of relying on God's power and his strength in you. What are you doing in your own strength and not his? What are you running from or hiding from? What are your list of excuses for not fully stepping into whatever God might have called you to? So let's start there.
Be still and know that I'm with you. Be still and know when darkness comes upon you and covers you with fear and shame. Be still and know.
Really plug in through all four corners of the feet. Feel them connecting with the earth, grounding down. Make sure your shoulders are backing down. Maybe even slide them together slightly on the back side of your heart. I want you to imagine your pelvis as a bowl. On your inhale, I want you to lift your navel up toward the ceiling, tilting your pelvic bowl forward as if you're pouring through the thighs. Just allowing an arch in the spine, stretching through the front side of the belly. Now on your exhale, draw your navel deeply into your spine. Begin to press into your feet and see if you can tilt your pelvic bowl back toward your face. Squeezing all of that breath out. Begin to move with your breath on your inhale, arching the spine, tilting that pelvic bowl forward. Really expand in the breath here. On your exhale, draw your navel into your spine, press into those feet, tilt the pelvic bowl back toward your face, squeeze the breath out. Nice. Now keep moving like this with the breath. Finding that rhythm with your breath, linking the breath and the movements together. Coming into a neutral place with the spine. So we're drawing the navel into the spine, core is engaged. Take your block and you're going to place it between your thighs. Good. Begin to hug the block, not squeezing the life out of it, but certainly hugging each of the thighs in toward that block. Keep the navel drawn into your spine, press down into your feet and into the backs of the arms, and then elevate the hips. Now notice that the rib cage is popping up toward the ceiling. Shorten the space between your rib cage and your hips by melting the lower part of your rib cage down. Keep lifting those hips high as you hug the block, engaging the legs. On your exhale, slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time. Your tail touches down last. Keep hugging the block the whole time. Good. On your inhale, lifting the hips, reaching the top of the movement at the very top of the breath. On your exhale, lower down. Same thing at the very end of your breath is when your tail touches down. See if you can synchronize your breath and your movement. Couple more like this. Inhaling, lifting those hips, rising to the top of the breath. Exhale, lowering down, coming all the way to the bottom of the breath. Finding your own rhythm. Good. On your next one, go ahead and lift. If you want to, you can kind of shimmy the shoulders together, creating a base with the shoulders. You can even interlace your fingers underneath if you like. Just a nice open heart here. Good. On your inhale, lift the heels. Keep hugging the block. You're pressing into the balls of the feet. Exhale, lower those heels down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Nice. Inhale, lift. Uninterlace your hands. Keep the heels lifted as you lower the spine down to the mat. Good. Then release the heels last. Move the block out of the way for the time being. And gently draw your knees into your chest. Take a few breaths to just rock here from side to side. Good. Taking each of your hands just below each knee. On your inhale, begin to separate the knees. Roll the knees forward, bring them together, and then just draw them back in toward your chest. So maybe inhaling as you separate, exhale as you bring the knees in. Just let your breath be fluid. Check in, make sure your shoulders haven't crept up by the ears. You want to keep telling our body that all is well, that we're safe, we're secure, we are not in the need to be in fight or flight mode. So keep the breath fluid, consistent, let it flow. Take it in the other direction. Warming up those hips. Go ahead and bring the knees to the outsides of the rib cage gently. But keep relaxing the shoulders down. So notice if the shoulders want to lift, keep melting them down toward the floor. Good. Begin to straighten into your legs, coming into a wide open A. Then you're just going to bring your hands to the insides of those thighs. Then we're going to circle the feet. Circling the feet, pointing the toes and flexing them. So get the toes involved. So as you flex, spread the toes wide. As you point, squeeze the toes together. Good. Go ahead and change it up, going in the opposite direction. Good. Just flex into those feet, drawing the toes toward the nose, lifting through the heels. Good. You can go ahead and just bring your hands down alongside your hips. We're going to point the toes toward one another and then bring the toes together. Now put the heels together, so turn the toes out and then inhale, open and separate the legs. Turn the toes toward one another, bring the toes together. Turn the heels together and then open up the legs. So keep moving like this, nice and fluid. Basically doing like a mortar and pestle into that hip socket. We're breaking up the fascia, melting the fuzz, so to speak. But we're also starting to communicate with the piriformis, which is the oppositional muscle to the psoas. They work in tandem or against each other. So we want to start to fatigue that muscle, take it offline. Good. One more. And then just allow the legs to come wide. Bring your hands to the insides of your thighs. We're going to gently press into the thighs. At the same time, we're going to bring the thighs together. So actually create resistance. You're trying to open the thighs as you try to bring the thighs together at the same time. Now take the hands to the outside. Press into the thighs as you open. Same thing, create that resistance. You might notice some tremoring or shaking already. Bring your hands to the inside, squeeze the thighs together as you pull them apart with the hands. Good. Hands to the outside, same thing. Nice, couple more. Beautiful. Go ahead and bring the legs together. And then just bring the knees into your chest. Just rock here from side to side. And go ahead and roll on to whichever side feels intuitively right. Just pausing there for a moment in a fetal position on your side, kind of rounding the spine, drawing the knees in toward your chest. And then whenever you're ready, begin to bring yourself up onto all fours. So if you'd like to, you can use a blanket underneath the knees if you need that for cushioning. Make sure your knees are at least hip width distance apart, so look down. And then your hands are going to come directly underneath your shoulders, and they're also going to be shoulder width distance apart. Make sure you fan your fingers wide and kind of fan them out. So you're creating J's with your index fingers and thumbs. Good. Pressing into the hands and into the knees and the tops of the feet. Engage the core. You might need a little softening through the tailbone down, just in case you have a sway in the back. Let the crown move forward, and make sure your shoulders haven't crept up by your ear. So draw your shoulders kind of back toward your hips, expanding through the back, like really broadening the back here. On your inhale, slide your tailbone up. Press the navel down, slide the heart forward, and then lift the crown last.
Tuck the tail under, draw the navel into the spine, round through the back, and bring your chin to your chest. Inhale, lift the tail, press the navel down, slide the heart forward, crown lifts. Tuck the tail, draw that navel in, round through the back, chin to chest. Keep moving like this a few times. Exhale. Good. Head and come neutral with the spine. And then you're just going to slide your left knee in toward the center just a little bit, just to give you a little stability. And then we're going to stretch that right foot straight back on the mat, pressing the ball of the foot into the mat. And then just kind of rock back and forth a little bit. Just nice and slow. Beautiful. Pressing all the way back. Really stretch through the back side of that leg. Engage the core. As you engage the core, go ahead and pick up that left knee. Flex the foot. Keep the core engaged. On your exhale, take it straight back. Down dog. Leg lengthen through the leg. Biceps are right alongside your ears. Your heart is pressing back. You're pressing the mat forward, but you're bringing your weight toward your heel. On your exhale, bring the knee toward the nose, coming back, and then just place that knee back down. Bend the left knee. We're going to lift the heel toward the ceiling. So squeeze and lift that heel. Exhale, just release it down a little bit. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, squeeze and lift. We're going to hold here. If it's available, take the left hand around to the front side of your ankle and lift the heel up. Now, if you'd like to, you could use your strap here. Continue to breathe. Let that shoulder slide away from the ear. Open up the heart. Nice. On your exhale, just straighten it back. And then float that knee down. Again, it's going to be slightly centered, maybe just a little bit in from where it was on the right. And then take that left heel straight back. Press into the ball of that foot. And then just kind of rock back and forth. Good. Press it all the way back. Really press down into the ball of that foot. Begin to engage the core. Lift your right knee up. Flex that foot. Core is engaged. Breathe. On your inhale, we're going to take it straight back. Bring the ears to the insides of the biceps as you extend that leg up. Check in with your breath. Beautiful. On your exhale, bring the knee toward the nose, coming back, and then just release that knee back down. Pick up that left heel, bend into the foot, or bend into the knee, and then lift the foot toward the ceiling. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale. Inhale, hold here. Bring the right hand around if you can, or use a strap. Pressing the shin away from the body, press the heel toward the ceiling. Open up the shoulder and the heart. Where's your breath? Beautiful. Go ahead and release that. Just extend it back. Bring the knee back down.
And then take the knees wide, bring the toes together, and then just sit your tail right on those heels. Walk the hands forward. Melt the heart here. Melt the heart. So think for a moment about what your staff might be. Maybe there's more than one thing. Maybe what keeps us from moving forward, what keeps us from fully stepping into our calling is doubt. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's feeling that I'm not good enough, which, by the way, when you start to look at Moses, you're going to be able to relate to him because he had all of those feelings. He also didn't know anymore who he was. There was a loss of identity. He was so far from where he once began that he was unrecognizable to himself. And he also didn't fully recognize who God was. Sometimes we get so far away from God that we lose track of who we are and who He is. But we all have crutches, right? We all have things that we rely on. For some people, they become addictions. They're loaded with excuses. We protect them. We try to keep them safe. We try to snuggle up with them at night because they are familiar. And they've helped us all this time, so why would I need to get rid of it? The reality is we need to see it for what it is. We need to throw it down and recognize it's not a strength, it's a weakness. And doing it alone is much harder than doing it with God and doing it His way. What if God could take what that was and turn it into something glorious? Turn it into something that magnifies and shows His power. Slowly begin to rise up. Then we're just going to bring the knees so that they're right underneath those hips with the toes tucked. Keep your hands forward a bit, keeping the fingers spread nice and wide. Good. Go ahead and bring your heart back toward your thighs. Really stretching here. Melt the chest toward those thighs. Slide your shoulders away from the ears here. On your next inhale, press into those hands, begin to lift the knees. So we're going to lift the knees and the hips to a modified down dog or a bear pose. And just go ahead and walk it out. Releasing one heel, then the other. Make sure your biceps are alongside your ears, so check in. Crown is moving toward your thumbs, but your chest is moving back toward your heels. Hips are lifting up and back. Just taking a couple breaths here to release the back side of the body. Doing it anytime you can come onto your hands and knees or even into child's pose. Join me in down dog, and then we're going to just step the feet forward to the hands. You want your feet about hip width distance apart, which is about 2 fists to the insides of your feet. So check in. Really plug in through all 4 corners of the feet. Bend your knees and begin to release your crown toward the floor. At the same time, draw your rib cage toward your thighs. Maybe you shake your head, yes. Maybe you shake it no. Just releasing the tension in the neck and the shoulders. But maybe releasing some of those excuses, some of that stuff we need to let go of. Maybe we just need to lay it down for once and for all.
Bend your knees. Bring your arms out like wings. We're going to shift the weight toward the heels. Try to bring that tail down as low as you can, keeping the core engaged. Legs are online. Open through the heart, radiating through those fingertips. On the inhale, we're going to sweep the arms through, bring the biceps by the ears and come up. Stack the shoulders over those hips. Notice that there's a sway in the back, and see if you can soften that tail down. Draw the navel deeply into your spine, shoulders away from the ears. So when you imagine your staff is in your hand, maybe above your head. So what is it? What are you holding on to? What do you need to lay down? What do you need to throw down and see it for what it is? On your exhale, I want you to throw it down and come into a forward fold. Inhale, come back to chair. Exhale, throw it. Breathe out. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, throw it. Inhale up. Exhale, throw it. Come on up to chair and hold here. Reconnect with a slower, deeper breath. Focus on your awareness. Bring those hands together. We're going to lift all the way up, maybe hooking the thumbs. See if you can bring the biceps back kind of behind your field of vision, closer to the ears. Shoulders are backing down. Check in to make sure you're still grounded through those feet, legs are engaged. Draw the navel deeply into the spine. Chin is parallel to the floor, throat is back. On your exhale, knees to the right. Stay grounded through both of your feet. Good. You want to get into that toes a little bit more. Start shifting your left shoulder back. Take your gaze under your left armpit or under your left bicep. Focus on your breath. Good. Straighten it out. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Put the thumbs the opposite way. Biceps back. Legs online, core engaged. Shoulders back and down. On your exhale, hinge to the left. Really feel that stretch into the right side body. Good. Start moving that right lung back, shifting. Take your gaze under that bicep. Lots of stretching here. Feel that all the way into your right hip. That's your psoas saying hello. Good. Straighten it out. Come back up. Exhale. Good. Releasing the back sides of the legs here. One of the best ways to get into a forward fold is actually to engage the quads, because our muscles work in tandem with each other. So when we engage the quads, it actually releases the hamstrings. So maybe you lift those kneecaps up, engage those quads, and you can find a little deeper stretch. Make sure your spine is long and straight. If there's rounding in the upper back, you might need to come up a little bit. Get the shoulders away from the ears. On your inhale, come up halfway. Bring your hands to your shins or line up your fingers with your big toes on the mat. Slide your shoulders toward your hips like a turtle coming out of its shell. Bring your crown forward. Keep sliding your tailbone back, inner spiraling your thighs. So dial your thighs in toward one another. Notice the spreading through the sits bumps, through the tail. Nice, lots of breath. On your exhale, we're going to step that right foot all the way back into a low lunge. Really walk those toes as far back as you can and then release the knee down. Toe heel your front foot forward until your heel is directly underneath your knee. This is a great place for blocks, so if you'd like to use some blocks here, feel free. Now energetically, we're going to micro move our right knee forward. So we're kind of dragging the knee forward at the same time we're drawing the heel, in toward our groin. Make sure that left hip is drawing in and back at the same time. It's called chambering the hips. You guys feel that? Make sure your spine remains long and straight. On your exhale, take the hips back, straighten into the leg, plug the big toe into the mat. So it doesn't matter if you have a bend in that left knee or not. And then just release your crown. Forehead toward the shin. Beautiful. On your inhale, bend into your left knee. Slide your heart forward like you're giving your heart a ride on your thigh. Inhale, come up a little bit. Maybe you can bring your hands up. Exhale, take it back. Fold out in pyramid, forehead toward the shin. Inhale, bend the knees. Slide that heart forward. Good. Come up if you like. Big stretch into that psoas. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, slide forward. Put your hands on top of that knee. We're going to spend a little time here now. So I want you to envision this right hip has like a weight on it. And so the right hip is kind of moving forward and down toward the mat. At the same time, drawing this left heel in and back. Now I want you to hold those hips exactly where they are by just a little engagement of your glutes. We're not squeezing, but we're holding. We're kind of locking it in. Go ahead and sweep the right hand high. And take your gaze high. Bring the shoulder down away from the ear, and then continue to move the hand back. Press that right hip forward, lock it in. Exhale, float those hands down on opposite sides of your front foot. Tuck your back toes, we're going to lift the hips. Now fire the heel for the back wall. On your exhale, we're going to bend the right knee and touch it down, but don't rest it there, just touch it. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, touch it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale. Now we're going to step that back foot forward if you can move it. Exhale, bow out. All right, maybe take elbow for elbow and just rock here. Resetting everything, letting go of whatever it is you need to let go of. Love this song. She's saying, you've got the love to see me through no matter what happens. I know. I always have your love, and your love will see me through, will carry me through. Moses didn't realize that in the beginning, that God loved him so much, and he chose him, and he was going to carry him through all of it. He was going to handle it. But his doubt, his fear, his insecurity, and all of that began to bubble up. God says, throw it down. Throw it down. I got this. I got you. If I called you to it, I will bring you through it. Good. Inhale, lifting halfway again for length. Slide that tailbone back. Slide the crown forward. Shoulders away from the ears. So melt the heart a little bit toward those big toes. Feel that nice stretch. Good. We're going to step the left foot back now. Take it as far back as you can, then release the knee down. Toe heel your front foot until your heel comes right underneath your right knee. So we have a wide stretch here. Good. Make sure your spine is long and straight. And then energetically, once again, we're going to draw that right heel in toward our hips and drag the left knee forward a little bit, chambering the hips. Feel that? You might even lift up your toes on your left foot so you can really feel that heel pulling back. Check in with your breath here. On your exhale, plug the toes down. Take it back, bow up over that leg. On your inhale, bend into that knee.
slide that chest forward. Maybe lifting up if you choose. Exhale, take those hips back, bow out, forehead to the shin. Inhale, bend that knee, slide forward, lift up. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, bend that knee. Exhale. Moving with your breath. All right, come all the way up. Hands on that thigh. Once again, chamber that hip. So let that left hip be heavy. It's moving forward and down. You're drawing that right hip in and back. Now lock it in. Just gently hold it in place by engagement of those glutes. Reach the left bicep by the ear. Make sure the shoulder doesn't creep up. And then begin to find a back bend. Maybe take your gaze high. But without throwing the chin up, slide the skull back instead. We want that throat lock in place. Beautiful. On your exhale, float those hands down on opposite sides of that front leg. Tuck the back toes, pick up that heel, fire for the back walk. On your exhale, bend the knee, touch it down. Inhale, straighten and fire the heel for the back walk. Exhale, bend the knee, touch down. Inhale, take it straight back. 2 more times, lots of breath. Good, float that knee down. Bring the hands to the inside of that foot. Good. Make sure the right knee is not going out to the right. So keep it tucked in toward your shoulder. And then we're going to walk the hands over to the left. Good. Checking. Make sure the knee is still stacking over the heel. Make sure your spine is nice and long and straight. Hi hips. How are you? Good. Now tuck your back toes, lift the heel, stay here. Woo, hello. Check in. Good, now we're gonna walk the hands all the way over to the other side. So you're gonna have to pivot your feet. Bringing your hands to the inside of your left foot, release the right knee down. Again, toe heel if you need to, make sure you have a nice wide stance. Hands are on the inside of your left foot. Keeping the spine long and straight, begin to walk the hands to the right. Keep the knees stacking over the heel. Lots of breath. Twisted Lizard, it's my new rock band. Name of a margarita. All right, keep breathing here. Now tuck those back toes, lift the heel, straighten that leg. Hello. How are you? Send some love and light into those hips. All right, now we're going to walk those hands all the way into the middle. Both of your feet are either parallel in a wide open A or slightly pigeon toe. So breathe here. You're up halfway for the time being. Inner spine to the sides, press to the outer edges of your feet. Energy is coming up through the inner arch, up the legs. Make sure your crown is moving forward and your shoulders are away from the ears. Now you can begin to walk your hands backward through the opening in your feet, or you can take the hands to the outsides of your ankles or calves, and then just begin to bow out, bringing the crown down toward the floor. Let the tail slide up. So in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, plans not to harm you, but plans to prosper you and give you hope in a future." I'm paraphrasing. But that's essentially it, right? He knows the plans he has for you. He designed you, he created you. And in Philippians 1:6 it says, "He who started a good work in you will carry it through to completion." Do you believe that? Do you know that to be true? And if so, what's getting in the way? What are the obstacles? What are the barriers? What's interfering? You know what? Like this song says, you don't have to be strong enough because he is.
He is. Bring your hands directly underneath your face. We're going to dial those heels inward, pointing the toes outward. And then you're going to squat down kind of like a frog getting ready to jump. All right. Bring your hands to your thighs and then just come on up. We're going to stack the shoulders over the hips. Roll the shoulders back and down. So make sure you're not leaning forward. You want the shoulders right over the hips. Soften the tailbone down. You might need to kind of tuck it under a little bit. Good. And then again, roll those shoulders back and down. Chin is parallel to the floor. Crown is lifting. So lengthen upward through the spine. Nice. On your inhale, sweep, bring the arms all the way up. Interlace your fingers, but release the index fingers upward. Good. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. God's purpose, God's plan in us will prevail. We could get out of the way. On the exhale, slowly begin to hinge to the right. Good. Release that left hip down. Sink a little lower. Oh, goodness. See if you can get the bicep behind the ear so you don't see it. On your inhale, slowly rise back up. Sink a little lower. I know you're tremoring, that's a good thing. On your exhale, take it to the other side. Keep that navel drawn in, release the right hip down. Bring the bicep behind the ear. Really focus on your breath awareness here. Beautiful. On your inhale, come back up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart and stand up. Take a breath here. All right, so we're going to do Taoist breathing. You're fine. It's fine. That's practice. All right, so the toes are pointed out. On your inhale, you're going to lift up something you need to let go. You know what it is. It's between you and God. So just lift it up. Offer it up. Then you're going to crisscross the hands behind, bend the knees, and exhale, push it out. Make it count. Inhale, scoop up what it is you need in its place. Cultivate the opposite. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Good. Keep moving like this. Inhale, sweep. Offer something up. Crisscross the hands behind. Exhale, push it out. Inhale, scoop up. What is it you need? Courage, strength, peace, whatever it is, draw it into your heart. Inhale, sweep. Offer up that staff. Exhale, push it out. You don't need it. Pick it up again in God's power. Let it be a sign of His strength in you. Exhale. Do it again. Exhale, push. Inhale, scoop it up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, close your eyes. Sink low. Notice what you feel. Notice your breathing. What if you breathed as if you could not fail? What if you held this posture as if you could not fail? What if you took every step in your life as if you could not fail? Because there is no such thing as failure. That's a worldly concept. That is not godly at all. There definitely are places where we stumble, lessons we learn, but nothing is a failure ever. Nothing is wasted in God's kingdom. He brings beauty from ashes. Beautiful. Bring your hands to your hips. Stand up straight. Oh, goodness. All right, turn those toes in slightly, just so that they're parallel. Take your hands to the small of your back, or you can take elbow for elbow behind your back. Create a nice little bolster here. Good. Ground down through those legs. Get strong and powerful in your foundation. Upward lifting. And then begin to slide your hips forward. Lift the heart toward the ceiling and draw your skull back. Offer up your heart. What if you are all in? No excuses, no fear, no barriers. Beautiful. Engage your core. On your inhale, slowly rise back up. On your exhale, fold out. Release the hands down to the calves, to the feet, to the floor. Just check to make sure your spine is long and straight, shoulders are back and down. Nice. Go ahead and lift up halfway. And then just walk your hands toward the front of the room. We're going to bring the feet together, inner arches of the feet, inner edges of the feet. Lift up onto the balls of the feet and then lower down. Good. See if you can bring your hands to your heart. You might notice some tremor already, yeah? Hug those thighs together. Really press down. See if you can lift the heels a little higher. Nice job. Go ahead and bring the hands down. Now take the knees wide. And you can bring your hands to the floor, or you can bring your backs of your arms to the insides of your knees. Bring your hands to your heart. Keep squeezing those feet together. Spine is long and straight. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Beautiful job. Exhale, slowly release. And then you're just going to come onto your back. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees splay open. You can bring your hands alongside your hips or to your inner thighs. Just make sure you melt the dip in the low back. So you can always use a blanket if you need to, or you can just be conscious and really try to soften the low back toward the mat, drawing the navel into your spine. Shoulders back and down. Nice big inhale through the nose. Exhale out an open mouth to release the jaw. Maybe one more like that. And exhale. Good. With your hands alongside your hips, draw your shoulders together. Create a nice little base with your shoulders. You're going to squeeze your feet together and press the outer edges of your feet toward the floor. Press your knees toward the floor and then just lift your hips a tiny bit. So just so I could slide a piece of paper underneath your seat. You might notice a little bobbing and weaving. That's okay. Don't try to shut it down. Just let it do what it does. This is the beginning of the process. Exhale, go ahead and release the hips all the way down. And now see if you can relax every single muscle. See if you can turn everything off. Now go ahead and begin to squeeze those feet together. Begin to press those outer edges of your feet into the mat. Begin to press the knees toward the floor, keeping the core engaged. So soften the tail, the small of the back down toward the mat. And then I want you to start to micro move your knees so slow that I wouldn't even be able to notice it moving. And you're going to start moving them toward one another until you might notice a little flapping of your wings or a little vibrating, a little shaking, a little tremoring. And once you find that sweet spot, that's where you're going to stay for a little while. Because that's going to release the psoas muscle. That's going to release all those harmful toxic chemicals that stay in our body if we don't otherwise let go of them, that will impact every system of our body. They take their toll on our neuromuscular system. They take their toll on our hormones, on our immunity, on our digestive system, our elimination systems. Stress is the biggest cause of illness and disease there is. So why don't we let go of it? Why don't we get rid of it? Why don't we throw it down so we can be healthy and whole and well? So stay here with the shaking. Just allow the body to unravel. Notice if there's any places of resistance. Notice if there's any places of forcing, and see if you can just stay with it. See if you can just allow it to blossom, to unravel, to unfold. If you're having trouble finding the tremoring, just rest your hand on your belly. I can come over and help you. There are other ways to get there. Coming back to the story of Moses. I want to take a moment to look at his excuses, because I think we can relate to all of them. God says to him, and now, behold, the cry of the people of Israel has come to me, and I've also seen the oppression with which Egyptians oppress them. Come, I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, but I will be with you. So God assures him, I will be with you. You're not going alone. But Moses' response to that is then, if I go to the people of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? God says to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent you. This is the highest name of God, it is Yahweh. It is the name that they only used a couple of days a year, only by the highest priests in the temple. And he says, use my name. Use this name. But it's also evidence that Moses has forgotten who God is. How often do we do that? He starts with, who am I, not knowing who he is, and then he goes next to, who are you? Right? So then the third one, but behold, they will not believe me or listen to my voice, for they will say, the Lord did not appear to you. And this is when he gives him the powerful signs, where he turns the staff into a serpent and back to a staff again, and where he turns his leprous hand back. So then Moses says to the Lord, oh my Lord, I am not eloquent, either in the past or since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and tongue. Then the Lord said to him, who has made man's mouth? Who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Can we relate to this disqualification? I won't know what to say. I'll look stupid. I won't know how to start my yoga class. Right? And he says, didn't I make your mouth? Are you forgetting once again of my power? That I created you and I am in you. So then he says, oh my Lord, please send someone else. I love that. You know what? You got the wrong guy. Just send somebody else. I can't do this. Then the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, is there not Aaron, your brother, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He goes on to say, he shall speak for you to the people, and he shall be your mouth, and you shall be as God to him. And take in your hand this staff, which with you will do the signs. So then he says, all right, I'm going to give you someone else just to reassure you that will speak for you. But you will be as God to him. You are the one in charge. Can we not relate to all of this? He who started a good work in you will carry it to completion. What he is doing in you through this instructor training program and other areas of your life, he will see it through to completion. If he called you to it, he will carry you through it. He is with you every step of the way. Lay down your doubt. Lay down your fear. Lay down your excuses and your disqualifications, because they don't matter. He's going to give you everything you need. In Psalm 23, David wrote, the Lord is my shepherd. Right? My shepherd. He will guide me. He will protect me. He will take care of me. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. He will lead you, he will guide you, he will protect you, he will keep you safe, he will give you everything you need. And he'll even use your past, just like he did with Moses. He will use your past to bring forth his glory, to make his power known. God wants to use you. His power cannot be revealed, cannot shine through you, or be magnified or glorified till you throw down your staff. Pick it up in God's name. His power is in you. He can use you. He wants to use you. Know who he is. Know his power in you, but know that you are his first and foremost. You are a child of God. There's nothing you can't accomplish. If God has willed it, God has ordered it, God has called you to it, there's nothing you can't do. So to begin to bring your knees together, just gently draw your knees into your chest. Take a moment to just take the twist of your choice. I'll let you know when you need to switch sides. Maybe it's two knees to one side, maybe it's a single leg twist, maybe you stagger the legs, maybe you wrap the legs. Just find a twist to reset your spine, for getting everything back into balance. Slowly begin to take your twist to the other side. Slowly begin to come back on your back. Just make your way into a big, beautiful, full body stretch. Just lengthen, reach, stretch it out. You've moved out some of that stuff. Don't pick it back up the same way. You're going to pick it up differently, right? Stuff just needs to stay behind in your mat and corpse pose. Some of it you're going to pick back up and you're going to use it. Whenever you're ready, make your way into your final rest position. I'm going to go around with an oil that's a blend of oils. It's called Release. If you prefer, I didn't put that on you. Just go ahead and put your hand on your belly.
Giving you my heart and all that is within. I lay it all down for the sake of you, my King. I'm giving you my dreams. I'm laying down my lies. I'm giving up my pride for the promise of new life. And I surrender all to you, all to you. And I surrender all to you, all to you. I'm singing you this song, I'm waiting at the cross, and all the world holds dear. I count it all as lost for the sake of knowing you, for the glory of your name, to know the lasting joy, even sharing in your pain. And I surrender all to you, all to you. And I surrender all to you, all to you. Say I surrender. And I surrender all to you, all to you.
So we begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You may begin to circle your wrists and your ankles, turn your head from right to left, just waking up the body. Whenever you're ready, just reach one arm overhead, just rolling onto that side. Deciding what it is you want to leave behind in corpse pose, what it is you need to just put to death once and for all. Maybe deciding what it is you want to carry with you, that God might be able to use. Whose power might be able to be magnified and glorified. You are a new creation. Old has gone, the new has come. Whenever you're ready, begin to make your way up into a seated position. I'll give you a couple different options for hand postures. So Anjali Mudra, hands together at heart center, just a very prayerful pose. Index finger to thumb is wisdom, so maybe there's a place where you need some wisdom. Wrapping the middle finger over the index finger and then bringing the thumb to the ring finger is a connection with the heart. So just choose one, or if there's something else that you would prefer, then feel free to do that. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for just Moses. Thank you for how real he is and how we can relate to him. He becomes one of the greatest leaders that has ever existed. And it was because of you, because of your power. In spite of himself, in spite of his excuses and his past and his mistakes and everything else, God used him. And you can use anybody. Help us, Lord, to identify what our staff is, what our crutches are, what our excuses are, Lord. And to throw them down. That you could use them. You could use our past, that you can be magnified and glorified, and that we will become all that we are meant to be. Help us not shrink back from the calling, but Lord, instead be reassured and know that you will carry it through to completion. If you called us to it, you will equip us and carry us through it. God, I pray just for your protection and your guidance, and Lord, for you to just be with us the remainder of this yoga camp. You will do great things in our heart and our mind and our spirit. You'll transform us from the inside out, and that we'll be willing, we'll be open, we'll be available to that. Pray all these things in Jesus' name.
If this thing went, it did.